Incoming transmission.
Janeway to Picard. Our new friend's little surprise has worked out far better than we could have hoped. Recommend meeting up at Position Delta to discuss the next step in the war campaign and to congratulate the good captain for a job well done.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon, a Star Trek web series that dives into the history of any given topic using beta canon sources and my own imagination to fill in the gaps. In today's episode, we're continuing our adventures in the Confederation Timeline by taking a look at the Defiance class, to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Please note, this starship design was once again kitbashed into existence by me to continue to tell the story of that dark timeline. This series of videos that I've created with my own kitbashed designs has been received really well by you good trinaries. But one of the constant questions I always got was, what would the Defiant class be like in that timeline? Truth be told, I never intended to find out. I was going to stick with the Project Worldraiser classes and then call it a Cosmic Night. But since you all wanted it, well, here it is. And I hope you enjoy it. But of course, and as always, because this is just a bit of fan fiction, all information relayed should pretty much be taken with a grain of stardust and only considered a little bit of Star Trek fun. And so, with all that out of the way, let's begin. For all intents and purposes, Military Outpost Deep Space Nine was a forgotten starbase, having overseen the occupation and eradication of most of the Bajoran star system. By 2371, Captain Benjamin Lafayette Sisko had his command post running like clockwork. What remained of the Bajoran population had been put to hard work in the systematic strip mining of the entire star system. For the most part, all was well in that area of space. But Sisko, a man of action and foresight, saw the developing problem. Just before the forced withdrawal of their Cardassian allies, the Bajoran people had sent every ship they had, filled with every citizen they could cram into them, into the Badlands, to join the scourge of the galaxy known as the Resistance. And even before the dust had resettled on their acquired Cardassian space station, Sisko began to make plans on exactly how to deal with the Resistance situation. The Badlands was an unstable region of space that standard Confederation starships could not travel safely within, making it a perfect hiding spot for the Resistance, an unacceptable advantage that Sisko intended to change. The Worldraiser and her fellow classes of starships were truly marvels to behold, and no one could deny their strength and power when it came to the campaign the Confederation was having against the Borg Collective. But Sisko realized, to stamp out the threat that the Resistance posed, he would need a smaller, almost as powerful starship capable of surgically removing that cancer before it spread. And so, using his knowledge of starship design, he would begin the process of creating an entirely new starship class, the likes of which no one had ever seen before. And in 2372, the Defiance class would be born. Sitting at a length of 194.1 meters and 5 decks tall, the Defiance class would be designed to be operated by a mere 50 officers and crew members. Believing the Worldraiser technology was not being utilized to its fullest advantage, Sisko would have the Daystrom Institute develop a smaller version of both the warp and transwarp core. As a result, not only would the Defiance class have one of the fastest transwarp systems in the fleet at the time, but it would also be capable of a standard safe cruising speed of warp factor 8, with an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 9.7 for 12-hour increments. Her bioneural computer core and uprated thruster system would ensure that the Defiance class was also the most maneuverable starship class ever created. The Defiance class also had one more ace up its sleeve, its ability for atmospheric flight. Aerodynamic in design to allow for ultimate maneuverability within a planet's atmosphere, the Defiance class would also be able to quickly land or take off from said planet. Tactically, the Defiance class would be armed to the teeth, containing not only a powerful phaser emitter array system, but also 6 torpedo launchers, 4 forward and 2 aft, capable of firing both photon and quantum torpedoes. The Defiance class would also contain 3 phaser lance cannons that, according to Confederation propaganda, were capable of slicing straight through a planet. The Defiance class would also be equipped with the new multispectral regenerative shield system that was serving the Zukov class so well in her battles against the Collective. This class would also be equipped with the Confederation's latest version of their cloaking technology. This technology would allow the Defiance class to appear invisible to both enemy sensors and the naked eye. A single small hangar bay would be located on the underside of the Starship, containing 2, again specially designed, drop-style shuttlecrafts within its bay. Confederation Command was surprised with the initiative that Captain Sisko had shown in creating this new Starship class, but at the time it was far from supportive, believing that the Defiance class would be an overall failure, and indeed at first it was, with initial testing of the new core practically shaking the Starship apart when tested at full power. But rather than accepting defeat, Sisko and his team of engineers at Military Outpost Deep Space Nine would eventually solve that issue, sending glowing ship performance reports to the Confederation President to peruse. Wanting to see if the reports were merely boasting, or if this new breed of Starship could really perform as Sisko had promised, the Confederation President would send the Defiance to the Borg front for its ultimate test. And in full agreement, Picard and Janeway would send the Defiance alone into Borg space to destroy a Borg cube that they believed the Borg Queen was using to develop a genetic virus to use against humanity. No one believed the Defiance would succeed. In fact, Catherine Janeway and her small fleet of Zukov-class vessels stood ready to get the job done if the Defiance was destroyed or incapacitated. But ultimately, she wasn't. Not only did the Defiance class get the job done, destroying the Borg cube, but also she had destroyed an entire unit complex that the Borg had been docked with, marking a major victory for the Confederation and a huge setback for the Borg Queen. And with this success, the Confederation would commission the Defiance class, with an initial order of 60 starships to be built. The Defiance class would become a defining moment in Starship design for the Confederation. Utilizing her smaller, specially developed technology would allow the Confederation to build fleets of smaller and stronger designs than even that of the World Razor. As for the Defiance itself, she would return home to Military Outpost Deep Space Nine, where Captain Sisko would use her to begin the process of eradicating the Resistance and clearing out the Badlands of all Resistance forces. Created as a pet project by Commander of Military Outpost Deep Space Nine, the Defiance class would instead become a pivotal point in Starship design history, earning this little starship its heroic place in Confederation history. Thank you for watching today's episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon. What do you think of the Defiance class and the historical narrative that I've created here? Do you want to see more videos like this one? Well, leave your comments in the section below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, hitting that little bell icon so you won't miss a single video we release. Want to help the channel make the galaxy safe for all of humanity? Then consider becoming a channel patron, a major help that allows this channel to purchase resources and 3D models to keep it going. The link to our Patreon account is in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and remember, a safe galaxy is a human galaxy.